What a day. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Technical Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Monday. So today, again, is February 23rd. There's some updates and a series of different companies that reported earnings today. Just wanted to do my part in keeping you up to date. Hope that you learned something new. And if you do, please consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing if you feel like we earned it. First off, the inverse ETF MSTZ, which is the one that we are going long on today, to short MSTR is up. MSTR continues to sell off, especially as the Bitcoin news continues to come out, and we officially broke below $63,000 today for Bitcoin. I don't trade Bitcoin, I don't trade crypto, never have, never will. I don't care for it. With that being said, as Bitcoin sells off, MSTR sells off. It's pretty much a proxy of whatever Bitcoin's price is. Calls itself a Bitcoin treasury company. It's a software company that loses $500 million a year and began to issue debt to borrow against that debt at 0% interest and buy Bitcoin. They are down, I think, almost $10 billion on their Bitcoin holdings, and they've been buying for the past 5 to 10 years. So again, who would have thought that it wouldn't actually be worth it to dollar cost average into a bullshit speculative asset such as Bitcoin? Well, Michael Saylor's finding out very quickly. That being said, it's down 0.82% as Bitcoin continues to tumble, which means that MSTZ is up, and we cleared a little bit over 10K on the day. I do still have an open position, not very heavy, just a few thousand or right under, I think, 2,000 shares. Let me show you actually exactly. I think I'm at 2,500 shares. So relatively a very light position on MSTZ. Just in case if Bitcoin does begin to recover, we only give back partial of that position. But we'll be trading this one a little bit more tomorrow in our live trading session. And if you want to tune on in, it's the second link down below. With that being said, a lot of focus today, especially after reported earnings, was HIMS. This is actually one, first off, I've called out HIMS many times. I don't believe in the company, never have, but I don't want to say I never will. My thing with this one is, let's just talk about the revenue. The earnings per share came in at 8 cents per share instead of 3 cents. Revenue was a miss. It missed by about $2 million. Overall, it initially ended up selling off about 7 to 8%, quickly recovered, and then went back down to around $14. That's where the common support range. If you guys don't remember HIMS, I was calling out HIMS as a bullshit overvalued company at highs of $60 to $70 per share. Please, feel free to go back. The only company that we've called out that hasn't actually sold off has been Tesla. And respectfully, that's Elon. And when you bet against Elon, I mean, he has the, just Elon effect where he does have a lot of different things going on for him. He's one of the greatest minds of our generation. I love Elon and everything it is that he is, but Tesla itself as a business is no longer a growing company. And that's why I've never agreed on that. Other than that, when I called out HIMS, when I called out PLTR, when I called out AMC, GameStop, MSTR, we've talked about Open, huge companies that pumped, gained a lot of momentum. They seem like great investments for a short period of time, and then they drop 50%. HIMS is one of those companies. It was trading at a huge multiple. Now it's at from $60 or $70 per share. Now it's at 15, but now after reporting earnings, it's down an additional 8 to 9%. It's down to lows of $14 per share. When you go ahead, and this still has to update because it's not taking after hours into consideration. When you go to Investing Pro and you actually analyze the stock, this is before the 8 to 9% drop we just experienced. The PE ratio has come down a lot, which means that you're paying less of a premium to own this company from what it's valued at to what it actually produces. Its net income is $133 million. The part that is concerning, and I want to shed light on this, is that the gain is just over 2% from quarter 3 to quarter 4. Year over year, it did see pretty rapid growth, but quarter after quarter, it didn't see the same type of rapid growth that it once was seen. And especially for 2026, a lot of these type of consumer products or goods have lower guidance for 2026. Some people are even speculating that they might actually see lack of growth in 2026. If that's the case, then it would support that, hey, HIMS has peaked as a business. It's beginning to retrace, and no investor wants to invest in a company that is no longer growing. I think a lot of beginners often overlook that, no, you're not just buying a stock, you're buying a business and shares and ownership of that business. And if that business is no longer growing, then why are you invested in that business? That's the whole point of investing at a good deal while it's undervalued. And if you see it to possibly be showing signs of growth, then that is why you choose to buy and hold and invest in that company to be a part of that growth. But if you can clearly see that this growth is beginning to peak, maybe plateau or slow down, that is where investors, a little bit more, I would say, proactive investors like to take profits, exit for a possible retracement. And again, that's kind of the question that I want to ask myself is, well, do I expect there to be a possible retracement? But obviously, when it comes down to HIMS's price, especially if you look at the larger time frame, it's already seen a substantial retracement from highs of $60 all the way down to lows of now $14 per share. It's a 78% crash, a 78% drop, and a 78% loss of value. How and when then do you justify going in long on something that is now going to begin to actually start slowing down? You can see how sentiment and momentum play such a big role with these irrational valuation stocks. When sentiment and momentum begin to slow down and it begins to turn against them, you can see how quickly these speculative companies begin to fall apart. I can see how someone more on the value play, as it becomes more oversold, and if revenue does maintain, how now there could be a value proposition of, well, now it's cheap, it's no longer trading at a huge premium, and I possibly could want to go long on something like HIMS. Not saying that you should, and not saying definitely that I am. The risk tolerance that you would need is pretty substantial, especially as it's taken such a big hit. Yeah, 78% drop is a lot, but it can go from $14 to $7 per share. There is no bottom until it gets delisted. So with that being said, again, I wanted to talk about the possible, obviously, cons and the areas in which it missed as it dropped 8 to 9% after market hours. But also, I wanted to shed light on the possible opportunities for those that have that type of risk tolerance or risk appetite, and they see value in something like this. I respect that. We're all here for the same reason, and that's to make money. But again, it's different, I would say, risk appetites for obviously different investors, right? So the other thing that I wanted to keep you guys up to date on is that FedEx has officially sued the United States to get a full refund on emergency tariffs. There's a handful of other companies that have followed, Costco being one of them, and the list continues to go on. So according to how the Trump administration has responded, no refunds will be given, and this will be handled in court for the next 5 years. I personally don't believe that is fair, as they were simply voted to be illegal. And if we're here to respect the law and the Supreme Court's decision, which is the highest court in the United States, why isn't our president respecting that same rule? It just doesn't make sense. We can't be hypocrites and only side it with him when it's in our favor, but also be able to highlight things that even when it's not in our favor, be like, hey, that's not fair. We have to be fair for both parties. On top of that, I wanted to quickly talk about crypto. Bitcoin is down 50%, Ethereum is down 62%, XRP is down 56%, BNB down 57%, Link down 66%, Solana down 68%, ADA down 70%, OP down 85%, and low caps are down 90%. Again, I want to remind you, Bitcoin is not digital gold. It's always the most speculative assets that investors will dump first before the big boys or the big assets such as either gold and or overall indices. NASDAQ, QQQ, S&P 500, SPY, those are down 2 to 5%. Much smaller drops in comparison to the more speculative assets when it comes down to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, has officially dropped below $63,000 per coin. The Ethereum CEO and founder has been dumping Ethereum like there's no tomorrow. He's dumped over $21 million worth of Ethereum in just the past month. And I also wanted to share the announcement that Trump signed an executive order that there is zero capital gains tax on Bitcoin this year because there are no gains. Obviously, this is a joke. He didn't sign that executive order. I just think that it's funny because Bitcoin continues to crash and there wouldn't be any gains to tax unless you're shorting Bitcoin. Nonetheless, again, overall NASDAQ market looks like it might be testing that same support of 600. This is a very common support range. In tomorrow's live trading session, we're probably going to be very careful with choosing to short anything unless Bitcoin's price continues to fall. Then we'll just keep it simple and short MSTR. The reason why is markets are more bullish than bearish. Markets are testing a major support range, as you can see, 600, where it normally tends to find a support and then tries to recover. We'll see tomorrow if sentiment and momentum is positive enough to find a support and begin to recover back to highs of 630, 640. So again, especially if you're shorting at these oversold levels, I want to remind you that shorting always comes at a greater form of risk, and markets are more bullish than bearish, so you can never put it out of the question that markets can recover, even with all the tension or uncertainty that is currently presenting itself. Yes, there's uncertainty when it comes down to Trump's tariffs. I see that, and we're aware of it. On top of that, there's tension between Iran and the US and a possible attack. Yes, we see that and we understand the uncertainty, but guess what? The markets are always one tweet away from recovering back to all-time highs. So that is why, again, when in doubt, never be afraid to cash out, especially with riskier trades, and shorting is definitely one of them. I wish nothing but the best for you guys. Again, if you ever want to tune on into our live trading session, it's the second link in the description down below. And also Investing Pro, the software that I shared with you guys on this video, you guys can download it, and it's the first link in the description down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.